Hi, the person you see on the screen is Daryl Tay, who's a well-known Singaporean blogger and has been for a while now. We're going to be conducting a short interview to get some of his thoughts on the social media scene in Singapore.
So just to get started, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of when you started blogging, what made you join the blogging scene, and what you usually write about.
I've had a website before I started calling it a blog since I think 97.
Wow.
But only really started blogging seriously last January, and so I started because I took the same class that you're taking now,
Okay.
digital media, and that got me started. And so I blog about social media and marketing and comms.
Okay. And where do you generally get the inspiration for the kind of things you write?
Anywhere really, just hang around in school and people say, why do people do this, and that becomes why like a random blog post about something. Yeah.
Okay, according to you, you've been blogging for a while now, and how has Singapore's blogosphere evolved ever since you started blogging? You can probably share your views about how it's changed since last January after you took the course, as well as since 97, because you've had some amount of exposure to the scene.
I don't know, like in 97, I don't think there was really a blogosphere, or if there was, I wasn't aware of it. But I don't know, back then it was like everybody kind of had their own little thingies, like they had free websites like GeoCities and whatever, Zanga and stuff like that. So like everybody had their own little stuff, and it was mostly like, what are you interested in, like pictures of themselves, links to websites they visit and stuff like that. I don't think it was really considered like blogging back then. How it's changed since last year to now, I think it's largely been the same. Like there's maybe been like a lot more cohesiveness, like it's no more like individual bloggers just blogging for themselves, but there's more like crossing over of borders, so to speak. So like there's no longer like just the food bloggers hang out with food bloggers, but there's overlap with like the tech people or the fashion people or stuff like that.
Okay. And how immersed in general do you think Singapore is in the general social media scene? Do you think we've reached that place where we can honestly say that Singapore is a big hub for social media, or do we still have some distance to go?
Well, it depends how you look at it. Like in terms of just going online and using like online tools, I think like it's fairly widespread. In terms of, I mean like absolute numbers wise, like there's always going to be a limit of Singapore being very small, and depending on what the usage and outcome is, 4 million people may or may not be enough. Yeah.
Okay, so apart from this, is there anything negative about the social media scene that you've noticed? Something that could be improved upon, or something that glares at you?
Locally?
Yes.
Locally, I guess the local blog scenes, it's still a bit fragmented, so there's no real cohesiveness, and I think like people are beginning to see that as easily as social media can be used to enhance your reputation, like an individual or a group or a company, it can as easily backfire and turn on you very, very fast, especially because like I don't know, maybe people in Singapore have nothing better to do but to like flame people, like the taxi driver, like there was some taxi driver incident, and the taxi driver was like rude and shouting at some guy, and it was videoed, and like literally by the same day, like in the forums, there's like, no, actually it was this other guy, it was the passenger who was shouting at the taxi driver, and like literally within hours, like on the forums, you could know like who that guy was and where he stayed. So actually nothing better to do, yeah, but so. And I guess it's because of that makes like government, companies, organizations a bit hesitant to enter, because like, yeah, these are the people who are going to like burn them at the stake, so to speak, if anything goes wrong.
Okay. You spoke about companies, right? So very briefly, do you think that companies in Singapore actually get the concept of social media, adapt to it well, or is there still some way to go? Because we understand that you're in touch with a lot of PR professionals and communicators, So do you think that they actually understand the importance of social media and apply it in the right way, or in the local context?
Okay. Well, first of all, everyone has somewhere to go, like globally. Like there's, I mean, the simultaneously good and challenging thing is that there's no strict guidelines in place. Like, you know, the old way was like, okay, I want to market my thingy. I find a TV channel that has X million people. I buy an ad. I play it X times a day. And like set formula. Now there's no set formula, so it makes it difficult for everyone. Locally, well, I guess from what I've seen, only a very, very, very small percentage of companies are trying out social media,
Okay.
and they're trying it out in really conservative ways, which I think is fine. I think that Singapore is meant to be fairly conservative because, like, you know, like I mentioned, when things go bad, it can get really bad. So yeah, but I do forecast that in like easily 5 to 8 years, maybe it's going to start becoming the norm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking about Singapore being conservative, do you face any restrictions being a blogger? Yeah, are there certain topics that you would completely avoid or advise other bloggers to stay away from?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not just blogging, right? It's like normal Singaporean.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't talk about politics and religion and homosexuality and da da da. Like these are the common, like you just don't touch. Not just online but offline as well. You know. So, but I mean, like for me, being a social media blogger, I don't even come close to it anyway.
this, yeah.
So like, it's kind of like, you know, like you're aware that the boundaries are there, but you're so far from the boundaries that it doesn't even matter. Yeah.
Okay. And we understand that there has been a discussion about responsible blogging recently, and you were part of that discussion. So any key takeaways for yourself from that discussion, something that you could share with visitors to this wiki?
Okay. Well, the key takeaway is like I feel that the idea of responsible participation or responsible blogging comes from the other side of the fence. It doesn't come from the bloggers, right? So, so like the companies and the government and all that, they want responsible blogging, obviously. Um, but the problem is that they are not blogging anyway, or don't even talk about responsible blogging. They're not there. So if they're not there, you know, you can't like. I find it very hard to understand that they think that they, meaning anybody, can like sit on, you know, their comfortable little position and say, okay, you blog responsibly, without they themselves, you know, showing the way to blog responsibly.
So what is responsible blogging all about in your opinion?
Well, that's another takeaway from the session is that there is no real
Thing.
definition
Okay.
about what it is. I mean, to me, it just means that, you know, you don't like I think that finding out who the guy is and posting his address and his name, his occupation online is not responsible. I mean, like that borders on malicious. So,
Yeah.
you know, to me, it's just about knowing where the line is and being careful not to cross it.
Okay. So just as a wrap up, from your experiences thus far blogging and your outlook for the future, what do you see as a future for social media and blogging in Singapore? So visitors to this wiki could get an idea of what they're getting into if they want to set foot in Singapore.
I think we're going to see much more companies like try out social media, and I think it's going to take many different forms. You know, like the most visible is like blogger outreach, which is already happening a lot. Like, you know, but I think, you know, slowly it's going to start going to like not so mainstream channels, like especially now with the recession and everything. So I think like blogs would be more popular instead of, you know, I mean, like why buy $30,000 worth of ad space when you can just have a blog, a dedicated blog to say what you want. Facebook seems to be getting a little bit more popular, or okay, let's just say social networking in general. Like you can literally find a group for anything online these days. So how they use the group or how they use the fan page is another matter, you know, which everyone's trying to figure out because there's no real stuff. Yeah, I think you're probably going to see more cohesiveness in the future.